Hey lady, you here to fix our Wi-Fi or polish the coffee machine? The laughter follows Zoe Harper across the yard of Firebase Scorpion, sharp as desert wind. They see a quiet maintenance sergeant with a toolbox, nothing more. Up on the north tower, her wrench slips on the final bolt and enemy voices flood her headset. Calm, deliberate, plotting an ambush with tanks and artillery. She has two choices: follow procedure and watch them die, or break every rule in the book and become the target herself. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Welcome to Grateful Stories, where tales of compassion and kindness are told. Let's uncover what really happened. The sun cuts through morning mist over Firebase Scorpion like a blade through smoke. Sergeant Zoe Harper shoulders her worn canvas toolkit, boots grinding against desert gravel. She's not infantry, not special forces. She fixes things that break, and she does it without talking much. The comms sergeant barely glances up from his console. North Tower, Harper, signal's dead again. His voice carries the weight of routine frustration. Zoe climbs the steel ladder 2 rungs at a time, wind whipping across the rooftop. The northern array stands tilted against the morning sky, just a fraction off its proper alignment. She kneels beside the base plate, her tools clinking softly in the desert quiet. The coupling looks secure. The frequency modulator shows no obvious damage. She adjusts the fine-tuning dial, and the static begins to fade. Then something slips through the clearing signal voices that don't belong to Firebase Scorpion. Convoy Blackbird enters Thunder Valley at 0730 hours. The voice is calm, deliberate, speaking in clipped syllables she recognizes from intelligence briefings. Her pulse quickens as she checks her watch. It's barely past dawn. Blackbird isn't a code name she has to guess about. That's Colonel Vincent Cross, sector commander, and he's scheduled to ride point with today's morning patrol. The enemy voice continues with grid coordinates and timing that makes her blood turn cold. Armor staged on Ridge 7. Artillery positioned at Echo Point. Primary target confirmed. Every word carries the weight of a death sentence, delivered with surgical precision. She grabs her notepad and starts scribbling frantically. A shadow falls across her work. Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb leans over the roof's edge, his expression stern and impatient. Fix it and get down. Harper, control says it's probably just wind damage again. Her mind races as protocol wars with urgency. Sergeant, I need to report what I'm hearing. Webb cuts her off with a raised hand. Procedure? Harper, submit your report and wait for processing. She gives him a tight nod and packs her tools. But instead of heading to the maintenance junction, she makes a different choice. 2 corridors later, she slips into a restricted communications bay, her heart hammering against her ribs. Inside, she yanks out the battered field radio from her toolkit. The range is short, but it might be enough to reach the convoy's escort frequency. Her fingers shake slightly as she keys the microphone. Blackbird lead, this is Scorpion maintenance. Immediate danger at Thunder Valley. Static crackles back at her before a wary voice responds. This is Blackbird 2. Identify your source. Source is me. I intercepted enemy chatter. Thunder Valley's a kill zone. Abort your route now. Her voice carries more authority than her rank should allow. In the distance, engines rumble as the convoy begins its approach to the jagged canyon mouth. Through his binoculars, a gunner sweeps the ridgeline and freezes. Tank tracks, half buried in sand, sit exactly where the maintenance sergeant had warned them. Blackbird lead, we have armor in the kill zone. Reverse out immediately. The convoy swings into a hard turn, dust billowing as engines roar in retreat. On the far ridge, enemy spotters scramble for their radios, their carefully planned ambush crumbling into chaos. The kill zone that should have been filled with American blood remains empty except for wind and the bitter taste of failed opportunity. Back at Firebase Scorpion, military police storm into the communications bay. Webb follows close behind, his eyes cold as winter steel. You're done. Harper. The metal cuffs bite into her wrists as they march her toward the detention facility. But somewhere in the desert, 12 soldiers drive away from Thunder Valley with their lives intact, including one colonel who doesn't yet know how close he came to dying before breakfast. Hours crawl by in the detention cell like wounded animals. The concrete walls seem to press closer with each passing minute, but Zoe's mind stays sharp, calculating the fallout from her decision. Then the heavy door creaks open, and Colonel Vincent Cross steps inside, desert dust still clinging to his combat boots. "You just saved 12 lives, Sergeant Harper." His voice is steady, measured, but his eyes carry the weight of someone who's seen his own mortality up close, including mine. But you've made yourself visible now. The morning after Thunder Valley brings new realities. Cross slides a manila envelope across his desk, the contents rustling like dry leaves in desert wind. Inside lies a laminated ID card with a new clearance stripe and a dark gray shoulder patch bearing an obsidian talon striking through signal waves. "Nighthawk Unit, Signal Intercept and Field Reconnaissance." His tone suggests this isn't really a choice, more like an inevitable consequence. You'll be listening full-time now, and someone out there might be listening for you. By noon, she's climbing a different ladder to Firebase Scorpion's highest communications array. 2 armed guards flank the access hatch, their rifles held at ease but their eyes constantly scanning the horizon for threats. The new directional antenna gleams like a metallic predator in the harsh sunlight. She calibrates the sophisticated equipment, static giving way to a symphony of distant voices. Most are harmless merchant radio chatter, weather reports from border stations, fragments of music bleeding through atmospheric interference. Then a voice cuts through the noise like a surgical blade. "Scorpion has a leak. Female technician, dark hair, early 20s. The speaker's tone is clinical, detached, the way a coroner might describe an autopsy. "Payment will be doubled if she's taken alive." Her pencil scratches across the notepad with mechanical precision, logging every deadly syllable. She doesn't flinch, doesn't look up at the guards, doesn't let her breathing change rhythm, but inside, her blood turns to liquid nitrogen as the reality sinks in. She tunes the frequency dial further, pushing the antenna's reception arc toward maximum range. More voices bleed through the electromagnetic spectrum, speaking in the same clipped dialect she'd heard at dawn. Compensation confirmed once target is secured. Preference for interrogation before termination. The headset comes off her ears with deliberate calm. The notepad disappears into her cargo pocket as she walks directly to Colonel Cross's office, her footsteps echoing in the corridor like a countdown timer. She doesn't run, and running would attract attention she can't afford. Cross reads her intelligence report in absolute silence, his jaw muscles working like he's chewing on broken glass. "They know you exist now, Harper. They know you're the one who cost them Thunder Valley." His fingers drum once against the desk surface before going still. "Then we hit them first, sir." Her response comes without hesitation, carrying the kind of certainty that surprises even her. Cross studies her face for several heartbeats, looking for cracks in her resolve. "You have 2 options: protective custody until this blows over, or stay operational and accept the risks." He leans forward slightly, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "If you stay in the game, you'll carry a sidearm everywhere, and someone will shadow your every movement." She doesn't need time to consider. "I'm not hiding from these people, sir." Something that might be approval flickers across his weathered features before disappearing behind professional neutrality. Cross slides a new assignment sheet across the desk with a deliberate motion of someone dealing cards in a high-stakes game. "Observation Post Thunder, overnight intercept mission, isolated position on high ground with clear sight lines to long-range communications." He pauses before delivering the final piece of information. "It's perfect for monitoring enemy transmissions, and perfect for anyone who wants you isolated and alone." The assignment sheet feels heavier than it should when she signs her name at the bottom. Outside Cross's window, the afternoon sun begins its descent toward the western mountains, painting the desert in shades of amber and blood. That evening, Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb falls into step 3 paces behind her as she walks toward the vehicle depot. Her new shadow moves with quiet efficiency, his eyes constantly tracking potential threats across Firebase Scorpion's perimeter. The sun hangs low now, turning the surrounding dunes into molten gold. At the depot, a half-ton utility truck idles beside stacks of communication equipment. The driver hands Zoe a crate filled with signal intercept gear, his expression suggesting he knows exactly what kind of mission she's heading into. Thunder Post is bare bones. Sergeant, you'll be building your own electronic ears out there. They drive east into gathering darkness, Firebase Scorpion shrinking to a distant glow in the rearview mirror. The desert transforms around them as sand plains give way to jagged ridges, their shadows stretching like grasping fingers across the cooling earth. Observation Post Thunder appears as they crest the final slope, a concrete blockhouse no larger than a shipping container, squatting alone against the star-filled sky. Inside, the air carries the metallic scent of old wiring and accumulated dust. A single desk faces the narrow window slit that looks out toward Ridge 7, while cables snake from a small antenna tower into the wall like electronic veins. Zoe unpacks her equipment with practiced efficiency, building her surveillance web one connection at a time. Webb positions himself by the doorframe, his rifle held casually but his eyes never stopping their sweep of the darkened hills. "You'll have the entire horizon in your ears from up here," he says quietly. She responds with a half smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "That's exactly the idea, Sergeant." By midnight, her headset fills with the familiar symphony of electromagnetic chatter. Border Patrol check-ins drift through the static alongside scratchy music from pirate radio stations scattered across the region. Then something different catches her attention. Voices speaking in the same dialect she'd intercepted that morning. "Target remains at Thunder Post until 0400 hours. The transmission is crystal clear, as if the speaker wants to be overheard. Approach vector confirmed from South Ridge. No gunfire until team is inside the structure." Her pen hovers over the notepad as the full implications hit her. She reaches for the field radio to contact Firebase Scorpion, but static swallows her words like quicksand. The generator in the corner gives one rattling cough and dies, plunging the post into darkness except for the faint glow of battery-powered equipment. Webb moves deeper into the room, his expression tense. "That's not equipment failure," he mutters, checking his weapon. From outside comes the unmistakable sound of boots on gravel, moving with military precision through the night. Then her headset crackles with a transmission that stops her heart cold. "Overwatch confirms target in position. Webb, guide them in when ready." The voice carries casual authority, as if coordinating her death is just another routine operation. Time seems to crystallize as Webb freezes completely, his rifle halfway to firing position. Their eyes meet across the darkened room, and in that moment, she sees something break inside him. His shoulders sag as 20 years of military bearing collapse under the weight of betrayal. "Show me," she says quietly, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. Webb's hand trembles as he reaches for his wallet, pulling out a photograph with the careful reverence of someone handling broken glass. The picture shows a young woman in a college sweatshirt, her bright smile radiating the kind of innocence that this desert devours. She has Webb's eyes set in a softer face, her whole future stretched out before her like an unwritten book. Emma, 22 years old, pre-med student at State University. His voice cracks as the words tumble out. "They sent me her ring finger in a manila envelope 3 days ago. Still wearing the promise ring I bought her for her 18th birthday?" The photograph shakes in his grip as boots continue crunching closer to their position. Zoe studies the image of this girl who represents everything good that still exists in the world. "I had to choose between saving you or saving her," Webb whispers, his confession barely audible above the approaching footsteps. "And now?" she asks, though she can already see the answer forming in his weathered features. Webb's jaw hardens as he raises his rifle toward the door, his decision crystallizing in real time. "Now I choose both of you." The door explodes inward in a shower of splinters and concrete dust. Webb fires first 3 controlled bursts that drop the lead attacker before he can clear the doorframe. "Go!" he shouts over the deafening gunfire that erupts from outside. Zoe dives for the rear hatch as bullets chew chunks from the concrete walls. The night air hits her face like a slap as Webb's rifle chatters behind her, answered by the deeper bark of enemy weapons. Then comes a scream that cuts off abruptly, leaving her alone with the desert silence. Ridge 7 looms like a black wall against the star-filled sky. 2 figures advance in professional crouches, their movements coordinated and deadly. One carries a rifle with a suppressor that gleams dully in the starlight. She crawls toward higher ground, sand grinding between her teeth as every breath sounds thunderous in her own ears. From the ridge crest, she can see them clearly, not random insurgents, but trained operators with military-grade equipment and battlefield discipline. The first man never sees her coming. 2 shots center mass, and he crumples into the sand without a sound. The second spins toward her muzzle flash, his own weapon spitting fire that sparks off rocks inches from her position. She rolls behind a boulder and counts to 3, then moves again. He's good, professionally trained and combat experienced, but she knows this terrain now. Every shadow, every angle, every piece of cover has been mapped in her mind during the crawl up the slope. She flanks wide and comes up behind him, her final shot clean and professional. The desert presses in with absolute silence, broken only by her ragged breathing and the distant sound of helicopter rotors growing stronger with each passing second. She retrieves the communications pack from beside the fallen operative, tearing it open with desperate fingers. The compact unit still glows with active power, its encrypted channels humming with enemy traffic she can't decode. But the emergency frequency works perfectly when she keys the microphone. Thunder Post under attack, multiple hostiles neutralized, require immediate quick reaction force. The response crackles back through static with reassuring authority. Copy Thunder, Nighthawks inbound. Estimated time of arrival, 4 minutes. 4 minutes stretches like an eternity when you're alone with 3 corpses in the desert. She sweeps the area methodically, her sidearm tracking shadows that might conceal more threats. Webb's body lies crumpled by the doorframe, his sacrifice written in the defensive position he'd taken to buy her escape time. The helicopter sound builds to a thunderous crescendo as rotor wash slams into the ridge. Sand blinds everything in swirling clouds that taste of cordite and spilled blood. Colonel Cross emerges from the chaos like an avenging angel, taking the captured communications pack without ceremony. He studies the enemy device with the focused intensity of a man reading his own death warrant. "Now they know exactly why they failed tonight," he says, meeting her eyes across the settling dust. His tone suggests this victory will cost them dearly in the battles to come. From his jacket pocket, Cross produces a cloth patch worn smooth by handling. The Nighthawk emblem seems to absorb starlight and obsidian talon striking through electromagnetic waves, bordered by words stitched in silver thread. Silent, swift, unbroken. He presses the patch into her palm with ceremonial weight, then guides it to her uniform sleeve. The Velcro seals with a sound like tearing silk, marking her transformation from maintenance technician to elite operator. "You're Nighthawk now, Sergeant Harper. Welcome to the unit that doesn't officially exist." But something in her expression makes him pause mid-ceremony. The weight of Webb's sacrifice hangs between them like smoke from a funeral pyre, and she can feel the choice crystallizing in her chest. This moment will define the rest of her military career. Back at Firebase Scorpion, the debriefing unfolds with surgical precision. The enemy communications pack yields intelligence gold frequencies, call signs, staging areas, operational timelines. Cross spreads the decrypted data across his desk like a poker hand that might win or lose the entire game. "They'll adapt quickly now that we've shown our capabilities," he warns, his finger tracing enemy movement patterns on the tactical display. "Next time they come for you, they'll bring twice as many operators with better equipment." The unspoken question hangs in the air between them. Days blur into intensive training cycles with Nighthawk protocols, quick insertions, silent extractions, deep penetration reconnaissance missions, that push her skills beyond anything she'd imagined possible. Every operation carries the electric tension of being simultaneously hunter and prey in a deadly game of electronic warfare. Then comes the moment that will reshape everything. Cross stands in his office holding the official Nighthawk insignia, full unit integration, elite status clearances. Everything a soldier dreams of achieving. The silver talon gleams under fluorescent lighting, like a promise of belonging to something greater than herself. She looks at the insignia for several heartbeats, feeling its gravitational pull. Then her eyes drift to the communications array visible through Cross's window, where other bases across the region wait unknowingly for threats she might detect. "Thank you, sir, but I think I'll forge my own path." Cross's eyebrows rise in genuine surprise. "Your own paths, Sergeant?" She can hear the weight of military tradition straining against her unprecedented decision. "The frequency hunters. We'll be the ghosts in their communication networks. Sir." She turns away from the offered insignia and walks toward the door, leaving behind the conventional military structure that no longer fits her evolved understanding of warfare. Behind her, Cross's voice carries a mixture of respect and concern. "And if I can't officially support a unit that doesn't exist in any chain of command," her response comes without looking back, "then we'll prove ourselves in ways that matter more than paperwork. Sir." The door closes behind her with finality, sealing her commitment to a different kind of service. Weeks later, morning heat shimmers across Firebase Scorpion like liquid mercury. Zoe climbs the highest communications tower, her headset draped around her neck like a technological talisman. From this elevation, the entire base spreads below her in geometric patterns carved from desert sand. She slides the headset over her ears, and the world narrows to electromagnetic whispers carried on solar winds. The directional array purrs as it sweeps the horizon, searching for voices that betray enemy intentions. Merchant weather reports filter through first, followed by Border Patrol coordination chatter. Then threading through the static like smoke comes a voice she recognizes. "Target still active at Scorpion Base. Female technician. Enhanced security protocols observed." The transmission fades before she can triangulate its source, but the message carries crystal clarity. Zoe leans back against the antenna housing, her eyes scanning the endless horizon where heat mirages dance like ghosts. They're still hunting her, still coordinating their plans through electromagnetic frequencies she monitors with patient dedication. But she's no longer the frightened maintenance sergeant who climbed a ladder to fix a broken antenna. Below her, Specialist Aria Chen hunches over multiple computer screens, her fingers dancing across keyboards as she tracks digital signatures across the regional network. 3 other hand-picked operators man stations throughout the communications center. Webb's sister Emma now coordinates intelligence from a secure facility stateside. Her brother's sacrifice transformed into operational advantage. The headset stays firmly in place as the array continues its methodical sweep. Somewhere beyond the ridgelines, enemy voices speak into the void with growing frustration, their plans repeatedly disrupted by ghosts they can neither see nor catch. She adjusts the frequency dial with practiced precision, ready to listen to whatever secrets the desert wind might carry. The hunt continues, but now she's the one setting the traps.